So let's kick things off with the reigning world champion, Max Verstappen. Welcome, Max. Good to see you. Just give us your thoughts on how it went yesterday. Great run, lots of laps completed. How big an achievement was that given the size of this rule change?
It's always a bit of a question mark initially how you're going to do on the first day, but I think it was a very positive day, just doing a lot of laps, getting to know the car a bit more, but also for myself, just getting up to speed, understanding how to drive the car, because of course it's a little bit different to previous years, but overall, it was very positive and enjoyable. I haven't driven the car for a while now, so or an F1 car, in general, so the speeds are always nice to achieve again.
Great. Thank you. Fernando, let's come to you. First impressions of the new Alpine.
Yeah, it was good to be back in the car. Obviously, again, like Max said, after a few months, it's good to feel the speed of the F1. And yeah, the car was okay. Obviously, we had some issues, like I think everyone has at the moment, and trying to understand the car and where to operate the setup. But yeah, I think it was a positive day with a lot of laps, and yeah, it's an interesting week for everybody.
Certainly is. Thank you. Now, Sebastian, coming to you. Year 2 for you at Aston Martin. How different does this pre-season feel compared to last year?
Well, familiar faces. So it's obviously a lot easier because I know the team now. So much easier in this regard. Obviously, a big challenge with so many novelties when it comes to the car, but at least the team and people surrounding me, it's a lot easier.
Thank you. Charles, let's come to you next. Progress at Ferrari so far. How much did you enjoy yesterday?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it's interesting to finally be able to push a bit more the car, to get to understand how different of a driving style we need to have. So it's been a positive day. We've done many laps, which is good. Always a good sign. And slowly we get to know the car better and push it a bit more.
And speaking generally about these cars, are they faster than you were expecting given the rule changes?
I think it's still very early days to comment on that. I think in the high speed it's feeling quite good. Then the low speed you feel a bit more the weight of the car, especially on braking and the last sector. But overall the feeling is not too bad.
Great. Thank you, Charles. And Yuki, coming to you. You now have a year's Formula One experience under your belt. Do you plan to do anything differently this season?
It's obviously this year is just completely different car for every team. And there's a task that I need to develop the car with the teammate, Pierre, and also with our team. So, obviously, I think the new experience for me, like to develop the car like this much. But I really enjoy currently. The car looks good. Also I can use a little bit of experience that I had in 18-inch tire 2 years ago to help a little bit of team. But I think currently all going smooth. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Let's open this to the floor now, to the journalists here in Barcelona. Please remember to give your name and publication. Who's first, please?
John Noble from motorsport.com. So all the drivers, we've heard predictions of the cars need to be set up very stiff for the ground effect. We've heard comments that they're sluggish under braking and in corners because of the weight. And we've seen the phenomenon of the bouncing on the straights as they're porpoising. Are these cars fun to drive, or are they proving to be a bit of a headache at the moment?
Who'd like to start? Let's go with Max.
Yeah, they're definitely a bit stiffer than before. But I don't mind it. It's, the car is quite enjoyable to drive. It's just a bit different. So we still, in the learning phase. The only, of course, shame is that the weight is always going up and up, whereas, the cars become a little bit less agile in the low speed corners. But the balance and through the high speed corners is quite nice. Also, yesterday I've been following a few cars. Seems like it's a little bit easier to stay behind. At least, you don't have this weird loss of downforce where suddenly you have a lot of understeer or massive oversteer. Of course, I don't expect it to be fully gone and that you can follow in the rear diffuser because of the speeds we're still doing in an F1 car. But it all seems a bit more under control, and the cars are fine. Yeah, just with the tires as well, they're quite a bit bigger, so visibility is a bit different, which I think on a track like this is less of a problem. But when you go to street circuits, it's going to be a little bit more challenging.
Thank you. Fernando, please.
Same.
Are they fun to drive? Are you having fun out there?
He said everything. Yeah, it is. It is. Obviously, it's a Formula One. So, we are a couple of seconds slower probably than last year. Or it seems that we will, in some circuits at least. So that's never a fun thing for a driver point of view. You want to be always faster and faster and lighter cars and things like that. But in a way, yeah, I agree that at high speed especially feels good. And yeah, this visibility thing, as Max said, in some of the street circuits, maybe is a challenge because we don't have the same vision from the cockpit, and the front tires are, bigger, and you have that thing on top of them. So let's see. I think it's a new challenge for everyone.
Great response. Thank you. Sebastian, let's come to you.
Same question.
Same question, yeah.
Well, not that much to add. I think the cars are always fun to drive. I think Fernando and me were probably the only ones that remember days when the cars were significantly lighter. So that's probably the only downside. It's just the weight. I think they feel too heavy. But it is the where we are for many reasons and the current trend. But that would be at the minute the only downside. Other than that, I echo what Max and Fernando said.
Charles, please.
Yeah, apart from the weight, I really enjoy actually this winter testing. It's new. I mean, the whole car is completely new, so you have to really change your driving style, and it's very interesting for us drivers to just try different things. In the last few years, it was more or less the same driving style. Okay, you adapt a little bit from one car to the other, but it's not a big difference. This year it is, so it makes it very, very interesting for the drivers.
Charles, in what areas are you having to adapt?
I would say mostly because of the weight. The brakings are quite different. The distance in itself is not so different, but the way you are braking is different. And still trying to find the perfect spot and the perfect way of braking for this car.
Thank you. And Yuki, please.
Yeah, most of the feedback is just all aligned to these drivers, and I mean bouncing, there is, but I think same as our other team, but obviously same just feels nice in high speed. A lot feels more weight in the slow speed corner, but even I have a lot of bouncing. Unless his car is fast, I don't care. Even I lost a couple of memories on past because of bouncing. If it's fast, I'm just to enjoy the driving. But anyway, it's just it's all on the comments of the drivers.
Thank you. Right, let's go to our next question, please.
Phil Duncan, PA. This one's to you, Seb. In your role as a GPDA director, I just wanted to get your opinion on whether you think the Russian Grand Prix should go ahead, given what's happening over there at the moment. Do you think it's a bad look if F1, don't cancel it effectively?
Well, I think as GPDA we haven't spoken on this subject, so I can't speak on behalf of GPDA. But in my personal opinion, obviously, I think I woke up again to this morning's news and shocked. I don't know. I think it's horrible to see what is happening, and obviously, if you look at the calendar, we have a race scheduled in Russia. For myself, my own opinion is I should not go. I will not go. I think it's wrong to race in the country. I'm sorry for the people, innocent people that are losing their lives, that are getting killed for stupid reasons, and a very, very strange and mad leadership. So I'm sure that's something that we will talk about. But as I said, on behalf of GPDA, we haven't come together yet. But personally, I'm just so shocked and sad to see what's going on. So we will see going forward. But I think my decision is already made.
Next question, please.
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. It's a question to Max, please. Max, I just wondered, over the off-season, did you set aside any specific time to reflect on what you did well last year and where you think you might need to improve for your first title defence? Now that you've claimed a world title, is there anything that went really well last year that you can, any experience you can build upon? Thanks.
It's not like there's one specific moment where I think about it. I think it just goes naturally. I think as a driver, you always want to do better every single year, but it's not like one aspect where you suddenly want to improve a lot. It's just step by step. Also, just general experience helps you. But now also the cars are very different, so this is another thing to learn, and probably the biggest thing we need to get on top of as a driver.
Thank you. Next one.
Adam Cooper, motorsport.com. Max talked about the following. Have any of the rest of you had a chance to follow another car yet? And if not, is that something you actively want to try either here or in the Bahrain test?
Why don't we go left to right? Sebastian.
Not much. I tried, but the car in front boxed. So I'll have to try again.
Yeah, I tried a little bit. It felt a bit better until you actually get really, really close, and there you obviously feel the loss of downforce. But yeah, I'll have to do a few more laps behind the car.
I didn't.
Nothing from Fernando. Yuki, have you tried following?
I had a bit, but yeah.
Not yet. Okay. Next one, please.
Christian Mehnert, motorsportmagazin.com. Question to all drivers with the characteristics you've just described earlier. Do you think the driver can make a bigger difference with a driving style than in the previous years?
Why don't we go right to left this time? Yuki, start with you.
Currently, I don't know. Have to see how the teammates driving. I haven't seen yet how he's driving, but yeah, I think so. It's a lot of kind of driving style you can do. I think, especially in terms of long run, it's kind of feeling kind of similar as Formula 2, that if you get degradation, it's quite big, drops quite a lot. So like time management also kind of required, but kind of maybe a bit of different way as last year. But at the moment, I think it's a bit early stage to say. It's not enough data and experience for this current car to say this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's early days to say exactly what these cars will require, and if there is differences between drivers, so you can make any good for the tires or for the car, or you have to change a few things for sure. But I think it's the same as every car that we drove in the last decades. And yeah, in a way, I think Formula One will still support that the car is doing the majority of the performance. If in Bahrain we bring a package that it gives you 2 tenths, you will be 2 tenths quicker, and if it's 1 second, you will be 1 second quicker. So it's not that the driver will dramatically change that. So let's see.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I think it's still F1 in general. It's still really car dependent. Of course, individually you can make differences, but let's say if the car is a second off, you're not going to win the race. So yeah, we can influence the result, of course, tiny bits, and especially like in crucial moments, also with decision making or when the weather conditions are changing. A driver can make a difference. But when you just look at raw pace, if the car is the quickest, normally that will help a lot more than the difference between the teammates.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think maybe where we can actually do the difference on this season, especially that is the first season with these cars, is in the first part of the season, just how quick a driver can adapt to this new car and find the right driving style. But after a little bit, I mean, we are all very good drivers, and I'm pretty sure that once one understands how to drive this car, the other will adapt to it very quickly.
Yeah, I think one of the key reasons, other than the racing, was to bring the field together. I think if everybody is in a different car, but the cars are all at a similar pace, then I believe the driver can make more of a difference. But if you have a spread like we had last year, then obviously it's limited. So we will see. It will be exciting to see in Bahrain when we get going where everybody is, and if you look at the total spread of the field, how big it's going to be.
Thank you. Next one, please.
Jesus Balseiro from AS. Question to Fernando. What are your expectations over the new Renault engine compared to previous years?
Well, obviously, we believe that we have a step forward on the engine, on power, but also on everything. You know, I think the engine has been updated in many different areas. So, yeah, let's see if we can be a little bit more competitive on that side, and keep, you know, the reliability that we had last year. That it was one of the strongest points of the car, finishing all the races and having no issues at all. So, yeah, you need to combine these two things: the performance and finishing the races. So far so good. All the data that we had from yesterday and the dynos, but yeah, until we go to Bahrain, we don't know even what the others did as well on the engine side, and how much progress everyone did on this winter. There is a new fuel, so we all lost performance with the new fuel, and we all try to recover that. So let's see in Bahrain.
Thank you. Next, please.
Ian Parks, New York Times. Seb has just spoken very eloquently just now with regards to the situation in Russia. I'd like to ask the other four drivers, do you agree with him at this stage, while the race is still 7 months away? Would you follow his position and not go? You know, again, bearing in mind you're also part of the GPDA.
Charles, let's start with you.
Well, I think again we'll have to speak about it, but yeah, to not go too much into details, because to be completely honest, I don't know the whole. I don't have all the informations about what's happening. It's very sad to see that, especially in 2022, and yeah, then we'll take a decision. I think Formula One will probably take the decision and have more info than we do, but. Yeah, I can't express myself more than that. I honestly don't have all the information about it.
Yeah, I think, you know, when a country is at war, it's not correct to race that, that's for sure. But it's not only what I think, it's also how the whole paddock, you know, is going to decide of what we're going to do next.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Formula One decision eventually, and you know, I don't think that we drivers, we have our opinion, and I'm sure that is the same one as everyone. So yeah, but we don't have the power to decide or things like that. You know, we can make our own decisions for sure, but eventually I think Formula One will do the best.
Same. Okay. Next one.
Adam Cooper, motorsport.com. Can I ask all of you about the departure of Michael Massey? Do you have some sympathy for him? And also the fact that you've now got to know two new race directors who are going to have different styles and different ideas. I think Fernando already knows Eduardo pretty well.
Sebastian, let's start with you.
I don't know what to say. Yeah, I think... I don't know. I think Michael was working really hard and always had an open ear to us. So obviously the decision is taken that he's not going to be in that role anymore. So we will see going forwards. But I hope whoever is coming will be working as hard and as committed as Michael was. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Michael, for what he has done. Obviously, he also, I'm sure that he has tried his best to take the best decision in his opinion all the time, and it's always tricky. I mean, as we've seen in the last race, it's not easy. You need to take the decision quickly. But yeah, having said that, he will still be there in a different position, and I wish him the best. And then for the future, let's see. I'm pretty sure that FIA has more information than we do on all of this, and they took, in their opinion, the best solution for Formula One, which I hope will be the case.
Yeah, I think it's not correct. You know, everyone always tries to do the best job, and everyone can always use help. Like I think as drivers also, we have the whole team behind us, always, improve ourselves. But for me, it's very unfair to what happened to Michael, because he's really been thrown under the bus. And of course, people talk a lot about what was decided in Abu Dhabi, but can you imagine a referee in whatever sport has the coach or equivalent screaming in his ear all the time? Let's say yellow card, red card, no decision, no foul. It's impossible to make a decision. So I think in the first place that F1 already allowed that team members could talk to him while making decisions is very wrong, because it needed to be Michael making the decisions on his own without having people screaming in his ear. So the people who are now or did sack him allowed that in the first place, for me, is unacceptable. And now basically just sacked him. I found it really incredible. So I feel really sorry for Michael, because I think he was a very capable and good race director, and I have nothing against the new race directors, because I think they're also very capable and very good race directors. But personally, for Michael, I felt really sad, and I sent him a text as well. So not the right decision. And especially, I do think if he would have maybe put someone next to him, after Charlie died, it's very hard to take over from someone like him. He had so much experience from the previous years. And also, Charlie had help around him, and maybe Michael just needed a little bit more. But everyone needs experience. I mean, I came into this sport my first year. If I look back at it now, I'm a complete rookie. Like now I'm so much further than what I was back then. And I think it would have been the same for Michael. So to immediately sack him, for me, is not the right decision. But I wish him all the best with whatever comes next. And I hope it is better than being an F1 race director.
Yeah. What else to add? I mean, I'm surely think that Michael was trying to protect us all the time, which is what we ask for a race director. All the decisions, sometimes he will be okay for some and not okay for some others, because you will never feel fair on some of the decisions. As it happened to me on track limits or lap one, on things that even if I was not fighting for the world championship, you always feel that sometimes it gets okay and sometimes not. But he was protecting us. I remember Spa, we didn't race because conditions were not properly for racing. Baku, where we had the red flag, even if it was 1 or 2 laps to the end, because it was not safe. And then arguably the championship was decided in Baku when Luis lost a lot of points. So there are things that they will never be okay for everybody. But said that, I think the new guys are hopefully making the best job they can and keep protecting us as race directors and applying the rules, which probably is the only thing that we ask for them. We have to be all with the same rule, and sometimes we will feel okay, sometimes not, but at least we know what is black and what is white, and let's hope for the best. But it is a difficult job, like any referee in any sport.
Thank you, Yuki.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of hard work what he done last year, and also I respect him. Yes, it's really difficult, because in the end there's a lot of perspective. You'll get a lot of information, and it's hard to judge which is the right way or wrong way. But yeah, definitely it's not the right way. I think that to decide that either drop the FIA steward with just one race, especially. It was a big race, definitely the last race and championship deciding, but still I think a lot of experience you need, like me. And as hindsight, I got lots of penalty points from him, but I think just how hard work he does was really impressive, and I think that there's a lot of background going on, but hopefully I believe the new guy will be good in this area.